Last year, I hiked up here into the Uintas to Dean Lake, which is our destination today. I got all the way up here. I had scraps with me. I had the same tent I brought today. Pretty much everything that I brought along on this trip is identical to what I brought almost a year ago when I hiked all the way in to Dean Lake, got all the way up here, did my best to feel like I was having a good time. And then what happened is I got up here and I just wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling it at home before I left, and I ignored the feeling. I ignored the need for my body and my mind to just stay home, rest, relax. The truth is I had been busy for a long time, and I thought I would hike up here and relax. The problem is hiking in here, setting up camp is such a physical thing. People don't think about it when they are so excited to go camping or backpacking or even just hiking, just how much they're using their bodies. And I had already been running myself ragged with tons of overtime at work and things I had to get done around the house, and I thought I need to get away and relax in the mountains. And just something inside of me said, you know what, just stay home and sleep. Get caught up on sleep, take care of yourself, have some downtime. But no, I had to push myself extra hard and drive all the way up here into the Uintas, hike all the way to Dean Lake, set up camp at a pristine campsite. I was kind of disappointed when I got up here because, the campsite is occupied by two really loud girls and their boyfriends. Knowing my luck, it is Sunday afternoon. They're probably going to pack up and leave and free up that campsite. And if they do, I'll tell you what, I'm tempted to pack everything up from the campsite I had to use and move over to that site. I was really looking forward to using that site. It was perfect. It had a great tent, a great fire pit. It was nice and shady. Even Scraps enjoyed it. What I've had to do up here is another story, and I'll give a tour of the campsite in a minute. Basically, last year I did not listen to my instinct. I got up here, and after I had something to eat, I thought I would feel better. I didn't. I still felt like I just want to go home. I don't want to be here. Which is really weird because I absolutely love the Uinta Mountains. And that ended up being the last backpacking trip I took last year. So what I ended up doing was, after much contemplation and ranting about should I stay or should I go into the camera, I ultimately decided to pack up and leave. And that's just what I did. There was a thunderstorm rolling in. I don't know if it hit or not, or if it just blew over. It's kind of hard to tell when you're up here in the Uintas if something's just going to blow over or not. I didn't want to deal with another lightning storm. I didn't want to deal with all the camp chores. I was just done. And normally that kind of thing excites me, and I look forward to it with much anticipation. So I decided that my first solo backpacking trip of this season, I would return to Dean Lake and make up for the trip that didn't happen last year. So I have almost all the same gear with me, including the same tent. Scraps is with me, as you've seen in the intro. The footage of me hiking into this beautiful, just a gorgeous place. I got all the way in here anticipating that same campsite, only to find it very occupied. And so I had to keep hiking around the lake, had to keep moving. And the only spot I could find on this side of the lake with a fire ring is maybe 150 yards away from that other campsite. So here we are underneath the tarp, and I'm tired. Scraps and I are going to spend the night. We're going to have some good food, show you some of the sights, my usual thing. And in the morning, we actually have to pack up and drive back home for the stupidest reason ever. See, my kids, Dylan and Jude, have gone to California with their mom on a vacation, on a trip. They're going to Santa Cruz, they're going to Alcatraz, Monterey Bay Aquarium, all the things she and I used to do together. And I think it's awesome because the last time the boys went, they were just little tiny kids. I took off all of the same days my boys have off, so while they're having fun doing that, I'm up here doing this. So that's the plan. Right now I'm just trying to rest my bones from the hike, and I mowed my lawn late last night, so not like after dark, but that was really physical. And then I hiked up here, so I'm feeling it. My body aches, a lot of sore muscles. Just hanging out here under the tarp before I give you the full tour of the weirdest campsite I've ever had to set up. It is not what I thought it would be. There's a 20% chance of thunderstorms. There are a lot of thunderheads. We are in monsoon season. Every afternoon up here in the Uintas, you risk thunderstorms. So I had to be careful how I set this camp up so that if there's lightning, I'm not too close to the water, I'm not too close to a tall dead tree, not out in the open, that kind of thing. I brought a lot of luxury items on this trip, so let me rest up for a little bit and then I will give you the grand tour of this very spread out campsite at Dean Lake. We have returned. Okay, here we go. Here is the tour. The dumbest campsite tour I've ever had to give. So there's my roll pack with my hygiene, fire, and first aid in it. Always bring that. It's always stocked, ready to go. Current temperature 70, right on the money. Back home it's 101. So it's nice to be up here. This is just a little handy carabiner thing I found on Amazon with a knife and a pair of scissors and that kind of thing. Mostly got it to fish with. Whoops. Anyway, This is my pack, of course. The only thing in it now are my stuff sacks, and also I've got the trail camera in there for later, and that's my puffy coat. Over here is our fire pit. I'm gonna have to gather wood and also replenish my water soon. But it's a nice little fire pit. Those bugs that are flying all around it, I don't know if you can see them. They are not mosquitoes. I was worried when I got here. They are actually mayflies, which are pretty harmless. They just kind of swarm and land and that kind of thing. They really like this fire pit for some reason. And right over the hill over there is a couple of ponds. So we may be in for some bugs tonight, I'm not sure, but these mayflies are nothing to worry about. There's my filter. I got a couple of platypus bags to fill up so that we don't have to keep filling over and over. This is my son Murphy's. I actually found that in the garage. He doesn't know I have it, but whatever. He doesn't watch these videos. And this one's mine. And I just use those at camp. The reason they're empty is I fill them with filtered water and use them for everything from cleaning to cooking or whatever. Once they're full, then I don't have to keep running and replenishing water constantly. So what I've got is the Sawyer squeeze system, and also my son Dylan gave me for my birthday or Father's Day or Christmas or something a new life straw. It's a handy way to get a quick drink if you need it. Also good for emergencies. Basically, if I fill my Nalgene bottle with water, I can just stick that in it and drink right from it. I got my bushcraft knife, Mora knife. I've got a saw. That's a Vietnam era tent stake that I'm going to use if I need a cat hole dug. It works really well and it's super light. Of course, Scraps' leash. And then I've got this little sit pad over here my buddy Joe gave me, and we'll be using that around the fire. And then some paracord to hang our bear bag. And that's all that's in front of the fire pit. And then over here is my hammock. I debated on whether or not to even bring a hammock. But I thought, you know, I'm up here to relax. It's nice to have the chair up there under the tarp. But I want to be able to lounge too. The reason I brought a tent is because Scraps won't sleep in the hammock. So because I brought him with, we're going to be doing tent camping. So you saw basically what was up there. That's my cooking area, my food area. I wanted it separate from the fire pit. You might be wondering why the tarp is up there, that the hammock is there. Why wouldn't I hang the hammock there? Well, the trees are too far apart for the hammock, too big around. And the tarp has nowhere to attach over here. These are the only two trees I could find that would support the hammock. So that's why the hammock's there. The tarp is there, and my tent, the only place I could find to put it right here is right out here in the open, this open area, but it's near the water, near these tall dead trees. Lightning's a possibility. I didn't want to be right out in the open near the water and tall dead trees. It's just stupid. So the rest of our campsite, oh boy, I am kind of near the water still, but this seemed like a safer bet. Nothing up in there is level enough to place a tent, so that's a struggle. That's why I like hammock camping so much. You just got to find the right trees and you're set. But we're over here, and there are already bugs all over my tent because of the color blue. I already know the color blue attracts bugs. They think it's water or whatever, so all kinds of weird bugs too. Different kinds. There's a beetle, a fly, some kind of hornet looking thing down there. Got it all zipped up. Scraps already wants to go inside. He likes the tent. So that's it. So camp is from way over there to up there, and the fire pit's in the middle, and we're sleeping over here. But that's okay. It'll keep any embers from the campfire, if we have one, from putting holes in my tent or the tarp or anything like that. I've got this long sleeve hooded thing on. It's very lightweight, breathable. It worked really well for me in my last trip with my kids. It keeps the sun off me and actually is very comfortable. It's not warm at all. It's just basically this moisture wicking lightweight material. Just one way for me to keep from frying. I'm very pale skinned. I'm blonde, blue-eyed, pale. I burn easily, so I stopped wearing the buff things that I used to wear on my head. I just, kind of don't like the way they look. They're really comfortable. They're UV protective, but ultimately I kind of look like a thug in them, and it's just not me anymore. So anyway, I'm hungry. It's time for lunch. Before I do anything else, we need water, and then we will have some lunch. And then I will have to look at our wood situation around here. Looks like somebody left some wood that they broke off and dumped here. I brought my saw so that I had more options available to me. I haven't brought it in a long time, and every time I forget it or leave it on purpose, I wish I had brought it. Let me show you what lunch is. So for lunch, I ordered some of my favorite ramen from Amazon. You can get it at Chinese markets too. So on Prime Day on Amazon, these were half off, but a case of these is like 30 bucks. I was able to get a case for half of that. I have lots of this now. Idomi chicken curry flavor. So that's lunch, but I'm gonna combine it with some chicken for some protein. I just need to go get some water because I pretty much drank this whole bottle as soon as I got to camp. Something different that I brought this time that I think I'll keep with me is this citronella candle. It's been suggested many times by viewers, and it's really strong. There were flies all over this table, and I haven't even lit it. I just set it down and took the lid off, and they have disappeared, except for a couple. So that's what it looks like. And it burns for 25 hours. So I've heard good things about these. Time to go get some water. He's all tuckered out. He loves to lay in the soft grass. Scraps is 11 years old now. This may be his last year camping, I'm not sure. He didn't have quite as much pep in his step during this hike as he usually does. Anyway, let's go get some water. I'm not gonna film it because basically my battery's almost dead, so I'm gonna come back right after these messages. Okay, Scraps is over there with his food and water. He's content. I've got a full bag of filtered water here. I've got another one hanging on the tree over there. That's dessert. Just kidding, those are dog biscuits. They have an oil packet, as well as 2 different kinds of seasoning powder and chilies. Wind's picking up, but it doesn't look like it's gonna rain. I mean, the clouds are there, but they're kind of separated and they aren't very dark, and I haven't heard any thunder. Ooh. Well, just off camera after I stopped it, that gust of wind that came up was kind of a precursor for another one, and it hit hard and everything went flying. So I've got ramen all over the ground over here by the dog's dish. The dog doesn't seem that interested in it, so I'm gonna have to pick up as much as I can so I don't attract animals. Most of it I was able to pick up and put back in the pot. So we're gonna have some extra grit in with our ramen. Yeah, the wind took everything and just blew it right over. All the water dumped out and everything. Stuff happens, you know. That wind's something else. It's not too horribly cloudy, but I should have slanted this this way because the wind's coming right through here. I'm not going to film all this just because you probably know how to make ramen, and I got to concentrate on this so it doesn't blow over again. So I'll come back in a little bit. Alright, I managed to get it mostly cooked. That wind, it's like totally quiet and dead, and then suddenly out of nowhere, it's everywhere. And here it comes. Then I'm going to heat this some more. I'm trying to hang on to all my stuff so it doesn't blow away. It was so calm earlier. So I'm going to heat this so that the chicken heats through and also flavors the soup a bit better. This is complicated. Such a simple lunch, such a complicated process. Okay, that wind is just relentless. It did this at my house though. It blew and it blew and it blew and it never did anything. I think what I'm gonna do is down this and then clean up my cook area just in case. And then we'll go in the tent for a little bit. I haven't set up my sleep pad or anything, so we'll get that set up. Just be ready in case the rain comes. Make sure that anything that shouldn't get wet doesn't. Want some? I love the way this smells, the way this tastes. It's the best ramen. It's one of those bites where you don't realize how hungry you are until you take that bite. I'm having lunch surrounded by this incredible beauty. I couldn't possibly ask for more. Except maybe have my kids here. I do miss them. I posted a video a little while ago about the negative comments that I sometimes get. I would like to remind everybody that I'm not a bushcraft channel. I'm not a ultralight channel. I'm just a guy who likes to backpack and get into the great outdoors and share it with people. That's all. I don't do everything perfect. I don't set everything up exactly right. I'm just out here to have fun and learn and grow from it and share it. The reason I bring that up is because, you know, hiking in here, I encountered a lot of people. Every single one of them was friendly, happy to be out here. Every person that's walked by, which has been 3 people so far. Even those women in bikinis back there jumping in the lake. Super friendly people. Not too bad to look at either. Just saying. I only get that kind of hate online. It's so easy for someone to sit behind a keyboard and rip someone to shreds. But in real life out here, when you're out here, really out here, nobody cares. Everybody's on the same page. Everyone's on the same level. I show my mistakes. I show my shortcomings. I'm an imperfect human being. Apparently everyone with a keyboard is perfect. I'm grateful that the people who are actually out here in the 3D are actually really friendly. Adding that chicken was a really good idea. This is awesome. It barely fit in my pot though. I wonder if I need a bigger cook pot. I've been using this for years and you'll notice there's no handle. I've got the one side here, but the other side broke off. It hasn't really been missed that much. Speaking of being an imperfect human being, I have a second channel. It's kind of a mental health channel. I've had those struggles most of my life for various reasons, and I decided to post some of my experiences with it for others to benefit from. In my life, I've been widowed, I was abused, I neglected. I had my wife passed away, my first wife. She had juvenile diabetes, and it eventually won. I've lost both of my parents. I've been through a lot in life, and so I just thought, well, maybe I have something to give, something to share that people can benefit from in some way. So if that sounds interesting to you, it's always linked below. It's called Broken Man Healing. I don't have very many subscribers. I'm not worried about that. I realize it's not everybody's bag, so. Well, lunch is over. I washed my dishes and rinsed out my kitchen towel so it didn't smell like food, backpacking towel, whatever. My socks got wet and I forgot to bring a second pair of socks. So here we are drying socks in the sun. How peaceful this is. I am 90% positive that those people that were at that campsite that I love so much have gone home. However, I am also 100% sure that I don't want to pack everything back up just to hike down there and set it all back up again. I'm tired. That is Reed's Peak, and that is Bald Mountain. You can climb to the top of that one via a trail. I'm not sure about that one. Looks like somebody did have a tent here right on the shore, because I just found a tent stake. Lunch is over. I'm gonna go take a nap in that thing. I was gonna set up stuff inside the tent, but it can wait. I've cleaned up over there, and right now I just think I need to snooze for a bit. Okay, update time. I took a nap, and then I put my socks and shoes out to dry. I'm happy to say that they're dirty, but they're dry. So is my camp towel. This was the perfect spot for them. There's no shade. Well, there is now. Here's the situation with the tent. All set up. That's a new sleep pad. That's my rain suit, that blue right there. I actually ordered a new Frog Togs rain suit, and I wasn't paying attention when I ordered it. And when it showed up the other day, it was an extra large, and I thought, why is it pink? It's blue, but it has pink trim. I bought the women's extra large Frog Togs, so I have to send them back. They certainly didn't put it in bold print on Amazon, so those are my old Frog Togs from, I think I bought them in 2017, and they finally got a hole in the jacket, and they're just worn out. They've been amazing. They're comfortable, they breathe, they keep me dry. Anyway, you've got a quilt and a pillow, and that's it, and the air mattress. The empty space on the side is reserved for scraps. I'll put my puffy coat in there. He slept with Dylan on our last backpacking trip, and Dylan said he loved sleeping on the puffy coat. Temperatures tonight should be around 50. The wind's picking up again. So, not very cold, comfortable. Look at that hammock. It's just going nuts. So I think what we'll do now is explore. It's that golden hour, or at least it's starting to look like it. It's about 5 p.m. I think what we'll do is hike over in here and look at these ponds that are back here. Scraps is doing really well off leash. He just follows me everywhere. You know, he didn't grow up doing this. It's only been the last couple of years I've been dragging him along on these backpacking trips, so he's caught on pretty quick. So there's this big pond here, this tiny one here, and there was another one through those trees closer to that other campsite. Looks like there's another one off that way. This is like Pond City. No life in there, just a stagnant pond. This is really swampy. I do not want to get my socks wet all over again. I'll stay on the edges here. There is another pond over there. I kind of want to go over there, but I don't want to walk through this and get my socks wet after all that time it took them to dry. Let's see how squishy this is. As soon as I feel squish, I'm out. This isn't bad. This is good right here. You can get right up to the water. You can see how clear it is. The sun on it. It's beautiful. I think it's impossible to get away from people, but it's not. Having said that, it's a little bittersweet for me. I miss my kids. I have them most of the time, so I'm not used to them taking off for multiple days with their mom. The last time they did that was on a vacation to Seattle, and it was 3 years ago. And I did something similar. I went up into the mountains for days in a row. Looking over this way, that is the notch. If we were to follow the trail still, Clegg Lake is over there that we came in and walked by. And if we keep following, we'll come to Notch Lake, and then eventually Bench Lake. And if you keep going past that, which I've never been, you come to a place called Marshall Lake. Camp is just right over there. This is really spongy, but it's not squishy. Let's just follow this trail and see where it takes us. I bypassed this site when I was hiking to the one we're at. I kind of felt like the path runs right through here. My tent would have to be way too close to, or in the middle of the trail even. So much shadier, much more secluded. This is actually what I should have chosen. I could have put my tarp and hammock right up in there. That's a perfect grove of trees for it. Lots of tie-outs. My tent could have gone, not so much here, but right here. Kind of nestled down in here. The truth is that site back there was a perfect one, but you can't always pick the one you want. This one got hit by lightning. Look how charred that is. It's black and gray. And his buddy over here just looks like he got old and died. Doesn't look like it's been burned. Well, I tried once again to cut through here, but this is just a swamp. In fact, in the middle you can't really see. There's actually a stream running from this little pond to that big one. I wonder if we can get around this way. Yeah, this looks promising. Oh, there's another pond over here. There we go. Good to know what's around your camp, so at night you know what's going on behind you because you have a daytime visual of it. It's so clear. This stuff isn't swampy at all. People have asked me if I worry about ticks. The thing is with Utah is is we have ticks, but they don't carry Lyme disease. True story. And in all my time out here, I've never really had one. Neither has my dog. So they're not as big of a problem as they are. I know, like back east, you can put your hand in a bush and have your hand covered in ticks. But they're not really a problem here in the Uintas. I'm not saying they don't exist, but Lyme disease is not a thing out here in Utah. We're working our way around the pond. Come here, buddy. Hey, over here. He's smart. He either hops the log or finds a way around it. Well, we found a game trail here that leads to the pond. We made it over here. It's pretty long. It kind of winds back that way. It's beautiful. Crystal clear. Now we know what's behind camp. Should we walk back the other way? It's kind of cool. You got this pond, and then you got the next pond, and then you got Dean Lake. To the naked eye, it's way more impressive, but yeah. It's still kind of cool. It's like in steps. Didn't even realize I'd made my way back to camp. I thought it was further down the bank. I think the next order of business is going to be finding firewood. I think I do want to have a small fire tonight. It's comforting and gets the bugs to go away. They really haven't been a problem since I've been here, but I don't know. Maybe they will be at dusk. You may be able to tell I'm a little sluggish in this video. And the reason why is because we are above 10,000 feet and the air is thin. I was fine until I got up here. As soon as I got out of my car, I could feel it. It was hard to breathe in. It was hard to get enough oxygen. And it takes some time to acclimate to this altitude. Any higher than this and I run into altitude sickness. Several years ago, I think it was 2018, up here in the Uintas is a peak known as King's Peak, and it's the highest peak in Utah, 13,000 yada yada feet. I know Colorado has 14ers and our state's better because our mountains are taller. I don't care. There's always that guy. Anyway, I went up there with my son Murphy. It was a 30-mile trek, 15 in, 15 out. And when we got to the very base of King's Peak, both of us felt just awful. Headaches, couldn't breathe, nauseated, dehydrated. It was just the worst feeling ever. And we've been drinking plenty of water. We looked up to the peak. It was as if we were sitting just right at the base, looking up, saying there's that much more to go. And that's all there was, just this little trail leading to the tippy top. But neither one of us could move. We were really lethargic and sluggish. Everyone else seemed to be doing fine. They're coming down off the mountain saying, "Oh, that was awesome. You guys going up?" Just earlier that summer, a scout was up at that altitude and collapsed, and he didn't make it. It was altitude sickness. He just completely collapsed while he was hiking with his scout troop. He was also a football player at his high school, so just totally unexpected. Tough kid, whatever. I mean, altitude sickness is a dangerous thing. If you start feeling it, You need to get lower as soon as possible. You can find that series of videos way back in my video collection here on YouTube, but it was scary, and we made it back down over Gunsight Pass and back down to Dollar Lake where we were camped. By the time we hiked down to Dollar Lake, I felt fine, and so did Murphy. But we had to stop just as we got over Gunsight Pass. We were coming down the rocks, and hydrate and eat something and just anything we could to feel better. It was the worst feeling. It was just overpowering. And when I come up here and I notice that I'm gasping for air, I know I'm at that altitude where this is the cusp, where everything cuts off. If I go above 10,000 feet, I'm gonna start feeling that. So thankfully we made it out okay. We did not summit Kings Peak. I don't care, I'm not really a peak bagger, but you know, the degree of difficulty was there. It wasn't easy to do, and we went as far as we could. And no regrets. It was also a good time for me to spend with my son Murphy, which hasn't happened in a very long time. He's very busy these days. So anyway, if I'm sluggish and I'm gasping for air a lot, it's the altitude. It's rough on me. It didn't used to be. I used to come up here and not even think about it. As I've gotten older, my physiology has changed, and a lot of things are different about my body and the way it responds to its environment. You know, you hear people say it and you think, well, that won't be me. I used to think that, but I'm feeling it. I'm still vigorous and vibrant. I can still keep up with the best of them, but there comes that point where I stop myself and say enough's enough. When I came up here, there were flies all over this table. I lit this citronella candle, and they immediately fled the scene. I really like it. This is a good thing to have in your kit. I have not ever tried it. I've had many people recommend it. I've even thought about getting a big one for my backyard to keep the mosquitoes away. Believe it or not, a lot of times I come home from these outings with not a mosquito bite on me. And then I sit on my front porch and get eaten alive. Anyway, I really like this. I actually like the way it smells too. Well, I started sawing wood. Some of these pieces under here, I cut several that were that size, and I just got so fatigued. This is stupid. Anyway, I decided to drag some branches over here to use. We'll just kind of get the basic fire going, and then we'll just kind of lay those bigger ones over the top, and as they burn, we'll move them around. That should do us for tonight. There's not as much fuel in my canister as I thought there was. When I shook it, it really felt like it was full. I think there's still enough for dinner tonight and breakfast tomorrow. I think what wasted a lot of it was that wind blowing over my ramen. It was almost to a boil. I'd used all that fuel to heat it up, and then the wind came and took my ramen to the ground. Well, the golden hour is upon us. It's about 7:35 p.m. and I am finally hungry. So we're gonna have dinner. But to conserve that fuel I was talking about, we're just gonna heat our water in the fire. So we need to get a fire going. Tonight's dinner is biscuits and gravy, which also makes an excellent breakfast, but we're doing something else for breakfast. And I've got my snack bag here that has some hot cocoa in it, so we'll have some of that with it. If you're wondering about my snacks, it's just basically sunflower seeds, trail mix, energy bars, or protein bars, and then we've got some beef jerky in there. I've been sharing that with Scraps today. That's pretty much it. Not a whole lot. I think we'll go for the raspberry cocoa. And also, I brought some marshmallows to roast. Filtered a little more water. Filled this up. I do have my other platypus hanging on the tree up there. Felt like this would just be more convenient for cooking. A cup and a half. Ew. Little bug got in there. Oh well. Little protein. Just gonna place this near the fire, not right in it. Okay, it looks like it's boiling. Oh yeah. Yep. Oh, there we go. Biscuits and gravy. I'm just gonna pour this in the cup. I've already got the mix in the cup. And I'll just let it cool off. It's spitting at me. It's a cool little blue cup, huh? My buddy Joe. Gift from him. Looks good. Super hot though. Alright, stir this up. Make sure we get the corners. I've done that before. Yeah, it's looking like a nice thick gravy. As it should. Biscuits and gravy. Five more minutes apparently. It'll be ready. Those Ziplocs on Mountain House gotten really crappy. They don't seal, and a lot of times when you tear the tab off to open it, it takes the Ziploc liner with it. I really had some problems with these lately. You can see behind me Reed's Peak and Bald Mountain still have sun on them, but the lake does not, so we are running out of daylight. It is 8:10. Well, that's really different. Raspberry chocolate. It's good though. It's good. I like it. Not your standard hot chocolate. I like those packets, especially that brand. They're very rich. They don't taste watered down like a lot of the cheaper hot cocoa does. They're about 75 cents a packet is all. And they're great for backpacking. That's really good. I'm having a little bit of a hard time. I really miss my kids. I miss not being able to communicate with them too. First they drove up to Idaho, to Boise, with their mom, and then they met up with their mom's friend and her daughter that's roughly Dylan and Jude's age. And then they spent the night, and then today was driving all day to the California coast near Santa Cruz. A lot of that section that they drove, the signals hit and miss with their cell phones. It was dodgy just driving up here trying to communicate with them. I'm hoping when I go back into Camas, when I get back down the mountain and I get a signal again, that it just blows up with cool stuff that they're doing and seeing. Anyway, I'm just missing them. This is something we would do together, of course, and I didn't think it'd be this hard, but it's been 3 years since they were away from me for very long, and they're growing up so fast. They're both in high school this year. Julian enters 9th grade and Dylan will be in 10th grade. They're only 16 months apart, the boys are, so they've been kind of trailing each other their whole lives. I get sappy when I think about them. Oh, and tonight is a full moon. Today is Sunday the 21st, and it is a full moon, and we don't have a cloud in the sky anymore. It's all blown through. The wind has quieted down now that the sun's set, and I'm really looking forward to that full moon. That's going to be awesome. I'll probably stay up kind of late. I'm feeling more perky. This hot chocolate's really helping, and I ate that protein bar too, and I just feel so much better. I don't feel so sluggish. Figures it would happen right at dusk, right? This really is amazing. I think our biscuits and gravy are done. Let's check them out. Okay, here it is. Want some? It's just thick biscuits and gravy. It is amazing. If you've never had Mountain House biscuits and gravy, I highly recommend it. First bite. I probably should have brought my metal spoon instead of this little plastic one. This thing's awesome. It folds up, it's convenient, it's lightweight. That big metal one probably handled the heat better. So this bag is pretty toasty. Just like Grandma used to make. My grandma on my dad's side, it's the only one I ever knew. My grandma on my mom's side died 14 years before I was born. So my grandma on my dad's side was a really stubborn, ornery woman, but with a huge heart. And she loved to cook for people. And she made something similar to this. I swear it was almost identical. It tasted like this too. It was a horrible name for this stuff. It was called Lumpy Dick. It was just a porridge like this, with very much had a sausagey flavor to it. I never thought about it that way. When Grandma died, Lumpy Dick left my life. My dad was not one to make it. I think he knew how. He grew up eating it. It's in one of those Depression era meals, a kind of porridge that you made because it's all you had. And my grandma's first name was Bertie. That was her legitimate given name. I guess it was a common name when she was born. But at least it wasn't Fanny. That always made me laugh. Someone named Fanny. I miss my grandma. She was awesome. I remember I would go in the kitchen when she was cooking and sneak behind her and take a grape or something, and she'd catch me and she'd get that wooden spoon and be like, she never hit me with it, but she'd give me this look and and I'd just sneak off and eat it anyway. She was all talk. She was tough as nails. She went through a lot. But man, she had a heart of gold. Every time I went to Grandma's house in Price, Utah, she'd buy me a toy, a treat. She'd pop out the Sears catalog. Those of you that are old enough to remember that, she'd pull that out and plop it down on the table and say, pick out some nice clothes. And I'd pick them out. And they'd show up at my mom's house, you know, miles away in Taylorsville where I grew up. Just because Grandma was amazing. I miss her. Here's another funny thing about her. The grandpa I grew up with, the man who was married to her, was not my biological grandfather. It was her second husband. His name was Bill. William. But everyone knew him as Bill. His last name was Beveridge. Bill Beveridge. And I just thought it was the funniest thing on earth. You know, my grandma's name was Bertie Beveridge. It always conjured up this, you know, beverage made from birds. I don't know. She died when I was 22, almost 22. She had a heart attack. She was in her 80s. She was found on the floor of her senior living apartment with the phone in her hand. My aunt went over to had tried calling and the line was busy, back when lines were busy. And she went over there to check on her and found her on the floor. It was far too late. It was time. It was her time. She lived a good life, a tough life. She deserved to rest. And Grandma, this stuff doesn't hold a candle to your lumpy dick. Some beef jerky. There you go. Don't worry guys, it's organic. No sugar. That's good, huh? Well, I found me a marshmallow stick. Actually, it's a pretty lame one, but anything will do, right? Anyway, let's roast this guy. When I was a kid, I used to love to light the marshmallow on fire and then eat it. And as I grew older, I learned to appreciate a nicely roasted marshmallow that isn't just burnt on the outside and raw on the inside. So, this may take some time. The coals are super hot. I'm kind of trying to avoid piling more wood on because the wood I do have I want to use when it gets even darker. The mountains over there have lost their light. The sun is officially set. Okay, it's not brown, but it's about ready to fall off. Want some? Probably not from my dirty hands. That's good. It'd be better if it wasn't a store brand like Marshmallow. If it was like a name brand. Those really big ones that they make now. You know, the whole want some thing just started off as a joke. Me putting food up to the camera and offering to share. I had a guy complain when I was doing YouTube shorts. I did a video of me offering a taco to the camera. And I said, want some? Like I always do. And this guy, who was clearly from another country, based on his English, and that has, you know, nothing to do with it. I thought it was cool that someone European was watching my videos, you know, but he was offended. It is insane what people get offended by, but he said, in a nutshell, in his broken English, he said, you should not stick food in people's faces and ask them if they want some. There are starving people in the world. And that's basically telling them that you have what they wish they could have. He didn't get it at all. I'm actually sharing when I say want some. I'm sharing with you. You're not here. You're not physically here. But at the end of my videos, I always say, and if you can't get off the couch for whatever reason, come along with me. I could use the company. It's that kind of thing. That's the vibe I'm going for. Is I'm just sharing. I'm saying, here, doesn't that look good? I mean, how many other YouTube outdoorsy guys make food and watch them eat it? I mean, it happens everywhere all the time. If you used his logic to be offended every time someone put food in a video, there would be no cooking shows. There would be no anything to do with food ever. It would become a taboo thing that you couldn't even mention food because you might offend someone who doesn't have any. If there was a way to put this through the screen and give it to somebody, I probably still have more than some people in the world, and I agree with that. But I'm not putting the food up to the camera to taunt anybody. I'm putting it up there to share. So it's kind of funny. There were a couple videos where I didn't say that, and I got comments saying, hey, you didn't say want some. So it's all right now. I learned my lesson well. You see, you can't please everyone, so you have to please yourself. I'll probably cut that part out. My marshmallow is getting fat. I think what I'll do now is clean up all the food. I've already got the bear hang back in the trees back this way. I just have to hook the bag to it. I think it's time to clean up all the food and garbage and put it up in the tree. I do have the trail camera. I have never caught anything on my trail camera, no matter how many times I bring it. It's extra weight, it's bulky, but just in case, I always bring it. So I'll probably set it up on the tripod over that way, aimed towards the fire pit. Alright, we got it all cleaned up. I washed and dried my cup so it doesn't smell like hot chocolate. That only had water in it. Pepper spray, bear spray. I don't think I'll ever need it. I might use it on a person before I'll use it on a bear. That's just my water that's going in my tent. That's it. Everything up there under the tarp, none of it is food, but we're going up that way to hang this, and so we will double check. The candle, see, that smells like something. So yeah, probably the candle and the bug spray. Maybe go in this bag. Okay, everything's in there that smells like anything. So, here's where I ended up throwing it. Going right up there into this tree. I couldn't throw it as high as I wanted, but it'll work. Look at that gorgeous lake. Sometimes lighting is everything. What a shot. Now that the water's calm, I actually am starting to see some fish jump out there, but way out there. Like way over there by that meadow. I don't hear those people at all. They probably went home today. Oh well, our campsite's okay. It's not bad. I guess when I got here, because it was all out in the sun and I had to put the tarp over there, and then I had to put the tent over there, it seemed kind of screwy, but it's alright. This is a pretty cool little fire pit. All of that started with one fire starter. That's pretty cool. Now, we just have to wait for that moonrise, which should be over here somewhere. Probably in an hour or two. Well, I've been sitting here for quite a while. It is now 7 minutes after 10. And I think the moon is beginning to rise. It is indeed. Can you see that? How can you not? Let me tell you, to the naked eye, that is enormous. We will zoom in. It's gonna be blurry. This camera is not great with things like this, but we'll watch that full moon rise together. It's coming up right over about where the parking lot is. Parking lot isn't that close. Just shut up, Steve. I love it when the moon is new on the horizon like that. It's huge. I wish you could see it better. I wish I had a more powerful camera, but that is the best I can do. Not the most exciting moonrise you've ever seen, but trust me, if you were here, wow. Just wow. We'll just leave it like that. At least it's clear. It looks tiny in the camera. That's what she said. Such a humbling experience to watch it come up like that. So big and full and bright. Make you appreciate how small your existence on this planet really is. Let's go right there. You can see it reflecting in the water now. Stars were just starting to come out. That thing is so bright, it's gonna drown them all out. And the stars up here are amazing. No light pollution from the city at all. It's like nothing you've ever seen before. The moon is, you know, that's light pollution, but it's a good kind. This reminds me of, have you guys ever seen Joe Banks? What the heck's the name of that movie? With Tom Hanks? And he's on the raft in the middle of the ocean, and the moon comes up and it's huge, and he's just staring at it. And he says, Dear God, thank you for my life. That's how I feel right now. Apparently I have a brain cloud. Well, as amazing as that is, and as crappy of a shot as it is, I am beat. Good night, moon. Okay. So what do we need? We need the water. I need my hat. I've been charging the GoPro. I'll take that in with me and the bear spray. And this guy. And we will say goodnight to the fire. Just some embers. This is the trail camera set up on the tripod, aimed towards the campfire. So that's what that looks like. Tent is over here. Coming, buddy? It's kind of blurry. It's not wanting to focus because it's so dark. All right. Go on in. I'm gonna have to re-inflate my sleep pad. I'll come back when I get the light going in the sleep pad. No, you don't. Got a mosquito hawk in here. Need to get him out of here. Close this before we get more. The good thing is, I've got my bug zapper. So I'm going to turn on the glowing blue light of death. Hang it up. And turn off this light and let whatever's in here meet their fate. So there you go. And then we just look this way and there's that moon. It won't focus on that. All right. I'll come back in a minute. Well guys, I'm not gonna do a close-up because this looks just freaky, especially with that much light going on. Scraps is over here curled up on the, he's on my puffer coat just like I thought he would. And I had to put a little more air in my mattress, but I'm good. The only thing left on is the glowing blue light of death. And it should take care of any stray bugs we have in here. That's really the purpose of this little bug zapper. It's pointless to put it outside and hope to kill all the bugs. It's best to put it in your tent at night. Actually, I could use that. This has a light on it as well. So there we go, me in all my glory. Put my hat back on. It just looks terrible. The lighting is awful. It's not just my face, I promise. Anyway, it's been a fun day. I'm exhausted. Scraps is exhausted. Looking forward to a moonlit, peaceful sleep, and we will get up when the sun comes up and get out of here after breakfast. So, good night, guys. I will see you in the morning. Well, good morning. It's 7 a.m. I just woke up. Scraps is eager to be awake and the sun's not quite up. Let's get going. What a beautiful morning. There's a crow flying around. It was actually our alarm clock, but I was so cold that I didn't want to crawl out from under my quilt. So I just stayed there for a long time. It's funny, back home, 2 hours from here, it's probably no colder than 75 degrees already. It'll be 102 today down there. Let's see what the temperature is. 43, yeah, feels like it. I think that's pretty accurate. Everything looks undisturbed. I made a little mistake. I forgot to put the canister in the tent with me and keep it warm. So I'm going to have to stick it in my coat pocket and get it warmed up or it won't light right. I'm kind of discombobulated this morning. What a rough night. I went to bed just after 10, like I said, and I tossed and turned and couldn't shut my brain off. When I got perked up from dinner, I just never really came down off it. I was tired, but I wasn't sleepy. And after about 2 hours of that, I finally just gave up and came out here, and I didn't even have to light the fire. There were still embers, so I grabbed my pocket bellows, my little retractable bellows, and blew on the coals. The lake is beautiful. There's kind of a haze over it. Condensation on the outside of the tent, but the inside is good. And Scraps came out with me when I relit the fire and just kind of hung out and did what he's doing now. Just explored. He did good. He laid on my puffy coat, whatever you want to call it. And then I partially covered him with my down quilt. If anything stuck out from under my quilt, it was cold. It was cold enough that the air in my air mattress and my pillow kind of shrunk, and I didn't have quite the cushion that I would have liked, but I've never used that air mattress before. I don't know if it performed any different than any of my other air mattresses of similar quality. It's kind of meh. I'm not surprised it ran out of air. But I actually, after the fire, I climbed back in the tent and I waited until I was genuinely sleepy, and I climbed back in the tent and I just passed out. So I slept a good solid 5 hours before Mr. Crow decided to wake us up. You can see I burned most of the wood we had. The plan this morning hasn't really changed. I've got plenty of time. I'm not in a rush. We're gonna have a nice, comforting, warm breakfast. The meal I have in mind, I've had it for months. It was kind of expensive. I'm looking forward to it. It's kind of an about time kind of thing. I've been kicking around in my bedroom at home, and I'm finally found the right outing to use it. There has been one gear failure on this trip, and it's kind of a disappointment because I really like this chair. The little plastic feet on this, you notice they're not there. Well, unfortunately, when I sat down on it last evening, there are these little holes where the feet were. When I sat down, they sunk into the dirt pretty far, too far to get them out. And when I lifted the chair, the feet came off down in the dirt. So they weren't the kind with the big circle, which are the preferred kind, kind of like probably more round than that to keep that from happening. They were just little plastic covers that went over the feet. You can see where they were. Fortunately, I know that you can order those online. You can get replacements, and even the round kind that won't sink into the dirt. So, I mean, it's down there. I can't even get my finger. That goes down so far. I don't know, I sat down, didn't expect it, and boom, down I went. Anyway, let's talk breakfast. Peak Refuel Peach Cobbler. This is meant to be a dessert. It has 670 calories though. So I thought that would actually make a really good breakfast. And the thing is with Peak Refuel, it's a Utah company, so I'm very supportive of local. And they've really done well for themselves, but this thing was $16. Unfortunately, I just can't afford to buy these all the time. So I've held on to this for a long time. And that will be our breakfast with a cup of hot chocolate. Get our bones warmed up. Well, 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 Mr. Sunshine is making an appearance. Everything will warm up now. I was afraid I would oversleep with how late I was awake, but that crow really helped me out, actually. I feel refreshed, though. Ready to pack all this up and hoof it out of here. You ready, buddy? He doesn't care. He's busy. Today's hot chocolate is just chocolate supreme. Nothing strange or fancy. So I warmed up the canister in my coat. Let's see if it cooperates. Good deal. That's a beautiful sound in the morning. Alright, let's see what the instructions say here. Open pouch at tear mark, remove oxygen absorber. Carefully add 2/3 cup of boiling water. That's not very much. Stir well and zip pouch close. Let stand for 10 minutes. Open pouch, stir again, and enjoy. Pretty simple. Pretty straightforward. That looks delicious. I hope it's as good as it looks on the front. Alright, peach cobbler. Undehydrated, looks like that. Oh, that's good for hot chocolate. Top of the morning to you. I can't do Irish. My ancestry is Scottish and English, and I can't do those accents either. That is good. Rich, chocolatey deliciousness. A nice warm mug. That always feels good on the hands. It's such a beautiful morning, guys. I feel completely rejuvenated. I think I was just somewhat exhausted like I was the last time I came to Dean Lake. Only last time I just turned around and left. That is so good. I wish I could share it with you. You want some? I really think we had this whole lake to ourselves all night. I didn't hear another person. I didn't hear an animal. Oh, we got boilage. Let's see. Ow. Yeah. Yep. It's boiling. Ooh, hot, 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 hot. I wish this had a pleated bottom so you could stand it up like Mountain House, because I really don't want to lay this down anywhere. So I'm just going to have to lean it. Let's wait for the cobbler and we'll come back and see what that's like. I've literally waited months. It says pound cake and granola with heavy cream, peaches, and brown sugar. Oh, that just sounds amazing. Okay, it's been about 10 minutes. I'm supposed to be able to stir it and eat it. It's very soupy. I hate soupy. It said 2/3 cup, man. I don't know. As I'm stirring it, it's kind of thickening up. So I can see why it says to stir it one more time before you chow down. There's what we're looking at. There we go. Get it to focus. Want some? And here's the first bite. It smells amazing. That's really good. Definitely tastes the granola. I think the pound cake is the bulk of the squishiness. I don't know what you call that. The peaches are nicely hydrated. If you've ever had peach cobbler when you're camping, like Dutch oven, it's amazing. That's something I haven't gotten into. My buddy Joe is really into Dutch ovens. He's really good at it. We've been on a few outings where he pulled out the Dutch oven and went to town, and we had an amazing meal. We were car camping, of course. You can't you can't backpack in a Dutch oven. Scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best. I'll give this solid 8. It's well seasoned. The only reason I didn't give it a 10 was mostly because it's little too soupy. Like, peach cobbler is usually thicker than this. I would probably add less water than 2/3 cup. It's good though. I'm not complaining. For something that's meant to be a dessert, this makes an amazing breakfast. It's like biscuits and gravy on crack. Really good. I could probably drink it. Scrap seems a lot more vibrant today. He was very wary all night, very quiet. I literally have dead mosquitoes in the citronella candle. Look at that. They're not supposed to be attracted to it. I think that might have killed more mosquitoes than my bug zapper did last night. Well, it's 8:12. I am full. That was an awesome breakfast. Every bit as fulfilling as I hoped it would be. Right now it is 50 degrees in the shade where my thermometer is. Probably closer to 60 out here in the sun. Just a beautiful, calm morning. Now that breakfast is done, it's just time to pack up. We'll start with the eating area and the hammock. We'll clean all that up, bring it down here, stage it. Then we'll take the tent down, bring it over here and stage it, everything in it. And then we'll pack up and make like a baby and head out. Or make like a baby and breach, I guess. What a stunning morning. Well, that is it. My batteries are just about depleted, both on my camera and in my soul. The best part of this whole trip, believe it or not, Scraps had the right idea. For about 20 minutes I've been sitting here in the shade just staring out at this amazing lake. Being completely still and quiet. Not filming, not talking, just enjoying it. There have been moments like that throughout this trip, but I really needed to decompress after packing that thing again. There is a lot of gear in here, and the next trip will be significantly different. Much of what you saw today will not be coming with, and also will take up less space. I kind of wanted this to be a luxury camp. Mission accomplished. He doesn't know we're leaving yet. That's the last of our water. I emptied the bladder into it. It is 9:47 a.m. I cleaned up the fire pit fairly well. I just took the larger pieces out and threw them over there. Dog leashes are ready to go. Pack is ready to go. Here's where our tarp was. We're just double checking, making sure we didn't forget anything, leave something on the ground. I don't see anything. Nothing in the trees. The only thing I had in the trees was my roll pack. It was hanging up right here, so it's not there. Obviously, I packed it. I don't see anything. You, Scraps? Did we leave anything? No? The fire pit area is clear. All I have to do is put on my pack and hook the dog up. I was going to cut up through over where that meadow is. If you cut up through these trees, you end up at Clegg Lake. But I'm going to stick with the trail. It winds through those trees and then wanders around that way. I just don't want all that uphill through the trees and rocks. I'm tired. Here's where the tent was. Let's just double check and make sure we didn't leave anything here. You can't really even tell there was a tent here except for some smashed grass here and there. Don't see anything. Doesn't look like anything slipped out of the tent unnoticed. Anyway, let's get this pack on. Guys, do yourselves a favor. Get off that couch. Get outside in nature. Maybe at a lower elevation. Or not. Have yourself an adventure. The views. The views are spectacular. And if you can't get off the couch, come along with us. We could use the company. We'll see you in the next video, guys. For sure.